developer. Here I have a connection with my database called C1 and I'm connected as the user HR through this connection. We begin with the toChar function. The toChar function is used to convert a date or a number to a character string. It receives two arguments. The first argument can be a date or a numeric value. The second argument is a format string consisting of format elements. I'll be discussing the format string in relation to dates and numbers separately. The purpose of the toChar function in connection with dates is to display the date in a format other than the default date format. The default date format in Oracle is dd-mon-yy. If I write a select statement requesting Oracle to show me the current date, the result of this query will be today's date in a dd-mon-yy format. Now, if I want to display this date in a format other than the default date format, for instance, I want to display the 6th of December 2010 in the format of 12, where 12 is the 12th month of the year, which is December. The day of the week, the day of the month was 06 and the year was 2010. This is an example of a date being displayed in a non-default format. Or I can display this as 6th of December 2010. This is another example of displaying a date in a non-default format. Or I can display the date as in 06 dash December dash 10. This is another example of displaying the date in a non-default format. Now what you will notice over here is that you are displaying the same date but in different formats, and the way in which you do it is by creating a second argument, which is a format string consisting of format elements. Now here are a list of some of the available format elements that can be used. For instance, if you use the format element YEAR, it will spell out the year completely as 2009. MM will give you a 2-digit value for month. MONTH will give you the full name of the month as in April. MON will give you a 3-letter abbreviation of the month as in APR. DY is a 3-letter abbreviation of the day of the week as in TUE. DAY, full name of day of the week as Tuesday. DD is a numeric day of month, 25. Now this is just a partial list of the available format elements. There are a large number of other format elements that can be used to create date values in different types of formats. I'm now going to use the toChar function and display the date in a non-default date format. I want it to be displayed as the month first, followed by the day, followed by a 4-digit year. Now I'm going to execute the statement. What I can now see is December is being displayed as 12, today's date is being displayed as 06, and then I'm getting a 4-digit year. I can also display non-format elements inside the format string. Let's say I want to display it like this. I want to say DDTH of the month followed by a 4-digit year. I'm going to execute it so that you can see what the output looks like. Now the DD is going to give you 06. The TH is going to actually display the TH in the output. So you would see first or second or third or fourth or fifth, depending on the day of the month. Now the word of is not a format element. It is just a word that was added to this format string for readability. And what you will notice is I've put it in double quotes, and that's what needs to be done with every non-default format element. The MONTH has displayed the word December, the comma is just created for readability, and then you have the YYYY displaying 2010. So this was an example of the toChar function in relationship with dates. Now the second use of the toChar function is to display numeric values in a formatted manner. Now consider this example where I'm going to use the toChar function with a numeric value. Now let's say I want to display the value 463854.34, and what I want to do with this value is to display a dollar sign in the beginning. Then I want to display a thousands separator, which is a comma between the digits 3 and 8. I want the decimal point, and I want the two places after the decimal point. Now what I want to do with this number is to add some kind of formats to create a formatted numeric value. Now in order to do something like this, you have to make use of certain numeric format elements, and the numeric format elements are the digit 9. 9 will represent any number in its place. If you have a format as 9999.99 and the number to be displayed through the format is 345.6, then the output of that number after formatting will be 345.60. Now the reason the 0 is being displayed is because there was a second digit after the decimal point. However, the original value did not have a second digit after the decimal point, but a 9 after the decimal point will force the display of 0 in the output. Now 0 is similar to 9. It also displays digits in its place, but it forces a 0 to be displayed before and after the decimal point. If you create a format string as 0000.00 and the value to be displayed is 345.6, now I have digits to substitute these three places and a digit to substitute the place after the decimal point. However, the number to be formatted does not have a fourth place before the decimal point and a second place after the decimal point. However, when you use 0 as a format element, it will force the display of 0 in its place. Now you have another format element, which is the floating dollar sign. When used with a numeric format with numbers, it will force the display of the dollar sign. In the case of the decimal point, it will force the display of the decimal point. The thousand separator, which is a comma, will force the display of a comma in place of the thousand separator. So here I'm creating a format string which has a dollar sign, it has a thousand separator, it has a decimal point, and what I have is a numeric value which needs to be formatted. And what would happen is the output will be a value that has got a dollar sign, a thousand separator, as well as a decimal point, as well as the full display of the value 0 in place of this 9 that does not have a digit to be substituted in its place. So these were some examples of how format elements can be used in connection with numeric values. I'm going to put up an example where I'm going to continue this and include certain format elements. I wanted the dollar sign, I wanted a thousand separator that occurred between the digits 3 and 8, I wanted a decimal point, and I wanted two places after the decimal point. I'm going to close the quote and I'm going to execute the statement, and what I see is the formatted numeric value that I wanted. So to summarize, the toChar function can be used to format a date into a formatted date value whose format is different from the default date format, and it formats a number to contain formats such as currency symbols, decimal points, and thousand separators. The next function we look at is the toDate function. The toDate function receives two arguments. It may also receive one argument. I'll first show you an example where it receives two arguments. And this function is used to convert a string that represents a date into one that is in a non-default format to a date value which is in the default date format. Now I'm going to put up an example and then show you how I can make use of the toDate function, or what the use of the toDate function is. Now I'm going to call the toDate function and I'm going to pass as the argument to it a date value that is currently not in a default date format. And my second argument is going to be a format string which identifies or describes the format that the first argument is in. Here what you're telling Oracle is that you want this character string, which is supposed to represent a date, whose format is currently non-default, to be converted to a date that is in a default date format with a description of its current format, which is the second argument. I'm now going to execute this statement, and what Oracle does is it's able to interpret that date string correctly as the 3rd of June 2010. So this was an example of making use of the toDate function with two arguments. In the next example, I'm going to make use of the toDate function with just a single argument. Here I'm going to write a select statement that I'm going to perform a date arithmetic with. I'm going to say select 12th of May 2010 plus 3. Now this is what we call as date arithmetic. You're performing an addition with a date string, and what you're trying to do here is to add 3 days to the date 12th of May 2010. You expect the output to be 15th of May 2010, but when you execute this statement, you are going to get an error. The error says invalid number because Oracle is not interpreting this correctly as a date. Now, for it to be able to interpret it as a date, you have to introduce the toDate function telling Oracle that it's supposed to consider this as a date value. And now on executing the statement, the output is, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Here the output is going to be the 15th of May 2010. And what we did was we passed only one argument because this date string was already in a dd-mon-yy format. So this was the example of the toDate function. Now the third function is the toNumber function. It converts a string which is representing a numeric value that has a format to a number without formatting. So I'm going to use an example to illustrate how this function works. I'm going to perform an addition of $45.6 plus 3. Now what I want to do is add $3 to $45.06. And if I execute this, Oracle is going to throw an error saying invalid number because it's not considering this as a numeric value. It's treating it as a character string, and it doesn't know how to perform an addition of 3 with a character string. That is when you have to make use of the toNumber function telling Oracle that it needs to convert the string to a number, and what you also need is a description of what the first argument is in. So you're telling Oracle that the first argument is in a format of a number that has a $, has 2 digits before the decimal point, and 1 digit after the decimal point. So now on executing the statement, it's able to perform the addition because it knows what format elements are there and what needs to be removed. So this was an example of the toNumber function. In this tutorial, I discussed